Okay, good evening, folks. Going to call a meeting to order here at 1 Academy Street on Tuesday, April 6th, 2021 at 7 p.m. First item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. Please join us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda review. Let's see what we got here. I'm good on agenda review. Mark, anything?
No additions?
Earl, anything?
No.
Paul?
No, thank you.
Ed?
Nope.
David?
Nope.
Kathy? Elizabeth? Good? Yeah. Hear a motion to approve the minutes for March 16th regular select board meeting.
I'll move.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Nice to have it. Public comment. Anybody got anything you want to add that's not on the agenda? Good, good. Law enforcement, Chief Dell report.
That's a separate handout.
Yep.
And the health report is the back cover of the packet.
Evening, Chief.
Thank you. I think the report had been emailed to you folks. I hope I had. I was told it was, but
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
order here.
so for the month of March, we had 100 calls for service. We had 18 traffic stops with warnings, 2 traffic stops with traffic tickets that were issued for a total fine of $324. Traffic stops were widely spread out in most of their issued areas. Woods Hill, North River, Robin Hood, BB Road, Bushy Road, some on Route 7, topic areas. So we had a contracted time of our contract for a total of 248 hours. 196 hours of our contracted time was spent either responding to complaints or on traffic stops. And again, just to reiterate, that does not include the property watches we do. Those are done whenever we have the ability to do those. Any questions on that? Left us with 52 hours of random time that we use for patrolling.
Are we still using any of that highway money? Do we have any of that left, or is that gone?
That's still there. That is will be used more and more frequently as the good weather come out. We just one of the Donnie Gilbert went to the meeting to reauthorize us for the next round of that funds, which starts this month. So for April, we'll be out and about with those funds too.
Yeah.
So, with that said, if you folks here have targeted areas that we need to concentrate on for either distracted driving or aggressive driving, please forward those areas to me and times so that we can try to get those. We're working with fellow law enforcement agencies right now to set up some large details where other departments will be part of those targeting throughout Franklin County, to include areas in Swanton that will involve St. Albans PD, State Police, Sheriff's Department, so that we can try to target the worst violations based on traffic data that we have. So you'll see those in the coming weeks.
Okay. I will say I've seen a lot more high speed now that the weather's warmed up my way. On 105, a lot of ridiculous speeds in the evening time. If they could spend a little more time up there, that'd be great. Anybody got anything else?
Yeah, nothing to add this time. I think you guys have done a good job.
Joe, I was looking at the report and I got concerns here, and I think they're valid. I'm looking at these stop sign violations and these speeding ordinance, and I guess I can't come to grips myself to understand 18 stops, all warnings. And where I'm going with this, if they're being stopped for speeding and they're being stopped for a sign violation, why aren't they being issued a ticket? Are we gonna wait till there's an accident over there on River Street before we start writing tickets? It makes no sense to me at all that you're spending the time to stop vehicles and you're having them a good day and you're waving them goodbye. I don't get it.
So it's a simple solution, Ed. Do you want me to write every citizen who just barely rolls through a stop sign a $200 ticket? Or do you want us to stop and educate them that they need to come to a complete stop? Second thing is that some of those speeding violations that are getting warnings are those ones that are hitting around 9 miles an hour over the speed limit, 10 miles an hour over the speed limit. They're not egregious speeding violations, but they're perfect types of traffic stops for education to make sure that our citizens are understanding what the posted speed limit is, and it creates behavior. So when you look at traffic enforcement, it's not supposed to be geared around how many tickets you give. It's about education and controlling the number of traffic crashes you have. And that's the balancing act. And if you look at any department across the state, you should be writing way more warnings than you should be writing traffic offenses. And if you're doing that, you're doing the right appropriate enforcement. When we look at those violations, if we start writing tickets for 10, 11 miles an hour over the speed limit consistently, the hearing officers are going to throw most of those tickets out. Where if we continue to do what we're doing now with giving those warnings, we've educated our public, we've slowed the speed down, we've made the road safer.
What's the protocol on when do you write a ticket for excessive speed?
Well, excessive speed is going to be 30 miles an hour over the posted speed limit.
30 miles.
So, but the regular speed ticket that we're issuing are usually between 12 miles an hour and above over the speed limit. 11 miles an hour and under the posted speed limit can either be a traffic ticket or can be a warning. So if the person's never gotten a traffic ticket before, it's most likely going to be a warning. But if we stopped them and given them 2 warnings, say for 10 miles an hour or 11 miles an hour over the speed limit, those people end up with a traffic offense, a traffic ticket. And it's much easier to defend that in court than it is to start arbitrarily writing a traffic ticket for everybody. It's that balancing act. Do we want to piss off every citizen in our community, or do we want to educate them and be a department that can work with our citizenry to reduce speeding and keep our roads safe?
I'm not necessarily disagreeing with your way of thinking, Chief. It just concerns me. The big thing that concerned me was when I see these stop sign violations and they're just getting a warning. And what worries me, what my concern is that we're going to end up having a fatality over there as a result of it. And my point that I was getting across is that if we wrote a couple tickets for stop sign violations, we might prevent a bad accident over there. That's where I'm going with it, Chief.
Yeah, I mean, there has been traffic tickets written for our stop sign violations, and I'm assuming, without pulling these up, I'm assuming these are where somebody didn't come to a complete stop, just kind of rolled through briefly.
Okay, thanks for answering my questions.
Not a problem.
All right, police contract, that's supposed to be on page 3, David. That's page 32, so I sent it in. I haven't had a chance to read it. You good with the police contract?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody got any questions with the police contract?
Pretty standard.
Yep. Cut and dry.
We have municipal ordinances for speed limits on our roads.
Yeah.
We do, they're in the file. Yeah. Village has them all.
What's that?
Village has their speed limits also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're all good, I'll entertain a motion to sign this contract with the, give Mark the authority to sign it.
I'll make a motion to accept the police services contract and elect Mark, the selectman, as police commissioner to sign the contract.
I second it.
Okay, I'm just gonna add that that's a, from April 1st, 2021 to, where was the date in here now?
March 31st.
March 31st, 2022, it should be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Who seconded it?
I did.
You did, okay. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, ayes have it. Alright, I'm sure you got the original over there, okay. And let's see what else we got. Health officer report,
Very, back cover is Joey's report.
that cover.
Right, very well.
Yep. Contract. Let's see it. There it is.
Do you have any questions on the health officer report or anything you want more details on?
Just, Joey, just as Mark, I just got a question on number 4 about the lead poisoning and rental unit. The complaint was accepted by Vermont Department of Lead Team. What does that mean? What actions do they take?
So there's a lot of questions as to where the lead poisoning came from this with this young toddler, 2-year-old child. Based on the age of the house, there's a team of experts for lead poisoning within the Vermont Department of Health. So they actually went to the house, surveyed, sampled the water, checked the paint, and they were working with the landlord and the family to mitigate lead poisoning for this young child. And that's specifically their complete role. So once there was a high lead level in this toddler's blood, that team became activated, and they kind of took over because that's what they do, and they're the experts.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll just add, I dealt with this before. The state has a program that'll actually help the landlord if there is a lead issue on the property. So there's a whole process, but I've been through it before.
On number 5, there was an inspection and it said it's all completed. What were the results of that?
So there was it was a private residence, and they were able, if I went in and took some photographs of leaking roofs and damage to their property, they were able to get some COVID relief funds to help fix it up. It was a low income person. So I went in, took the photographs for CVOEO and another program because they couldn't go out without somebody else doing it first. And that report was furnished to them so that family could get the help they needed from the state of Vermont.
You know if they got that help or?
They did. After I sent the report, CVOEO and another state entity was able to help get some contractors there to help fix the problem. So it worked out very well for that family.
Thank you for doing that. Anybody got any questions on the health officer report?
No,
All right. I think that's it, chief. Thank you.
Thank you.
have a good night,
Have
Joe.
a good one.
Thank you.
Yep. Oh, that's done. Old Town Business discuss 4th Street property. Why is that on there? Do we need something else we need to discuss about it, or?
Earl, didn't you ask today?
Yes, I just wanted to follow up on the last meeting with the SCP, I guess, and see what the plan is going forward. I believe everybody got an email. Or,
Yeah.
you know, just wanted to make sure this thing was still moving and maybe discuss it a little bit more. There's issues with the Lamoille Valley Trail railhead. That I know Elizabeth's been involved in some of them meetings too.
I did attend that meeting that they had last week, was it?
We didn't remember, oh.
No,
yes,
the Lamoille Valley
one
Rail
meeting.
Trail meeting they had about the rail trail.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because that trailhead is
Yeah.
a pretty valuable asset for this
Yeah.
town.
Yeah. I'll just chime in a little bit from the meeting I attended that I was kind of disappointed, to be honest with you, with the whole Lamoille Valley Rail Trail thing, because they got the money to put the trail in, but there's no funds to, well, let me say there's no funds. They don't have any, anything in their scope of work that they've done so far with the trail to do any parking or anything like that. Any big towns that want parking, it's gonna be up to them to go get the grants and the funds to do the parking and stuff like that. And the upkeep is basically up to the VAS to maintain the trail. And I brought up a great concern that, they got all this grant money to build this great trail, but we have the Missisquoi Rail Trail up by me, that you're lucky if it gets mowed once a year and looks like a goat path. And, they probably didn't like my comment, but I said, I hope this doesn't turn into the same thing we already have. Was my concern with it. But, and it, basically what they said from here to St. Johnsbury Trail, it's probably about 2 more years before it's gonna be completed, because there's some major bridges and culverts they gotta be replaced that are washed out and some big parts and pieces, so.
Well, how we, I wanted to make sure that the select board was always informed about, of course, there is a Swanton Rec Path issue too with the 4th Street property.
Yeah.
And then you have that, the railhead too. This way we know what's going on. The thing that came from Joel in the email, I think is definitely a step in the right direction, and you guys are meeting on a regular basis. Joel, can you hear me?
Yeah, he's coming.
I can hear you. We have Betsy and Debbie here as well. They're on the committee. We actually are setting up and hoping within the next few days to have our first meeting. We got everybody listed who is going to be on the committee, and we're ready to move forward.
I got a question, Joel. Do you have members of the public also on the committee, besides set members?
Yes, we do. We have Judy Ashley. My understanding is she was at the last meeting and spoke, and I think she helped get some money for the rec path. Someone else, I think Elizabeth just nodded yes on that. And then, and I'm probably going to not pronounce the name right, Yashu and his wife are residents near the
Yep.
rec path, and we're going to encourage them to set up their own group to keep each other informed that live near the path. We can't have every resident to be on the committee, but we're going to try to work through those two to keep the adjacent property owners aware of what we're doing, what we're talking about.
Okay.
There's something that the rail trail that may be more of an economic development issue than what the rec pass is, a community issue. I think that's something that needs to be considered here. And maybe some local businesses might want to be involved in that if they were going to benefit from, you know, what the rail trail brings to Swanton.
Totally agree. Debbie's got her hand up.
Go ahead, Debbie.
Hi, good evening. I just wanted to let you know that as part of the Community and Economic Development Task Force of the Swanton Enhancement Project, we've started a process of where our membership is going out to some of the communities that have completed rail trail, like St. Johnsbury, Morrisville, Johnson, and Jeffersonville. And we're just starting to gather information on what types of businesses are along the trail, what the users of the trail are looking for with businesses. So we are in the very early stages of that economic development process.
Okay, so your committee is looking at it as two different issues then, right? You're looking at the rail trail and you're looking at the 4th Street and the Swanton rec path. Has more or less separate issues.
So the 4th Street Steering Committee that Joel is talking about is a specific group of steering committee members that are looking at 4th Street. The Economic Development Task Force of SEP is starting to look at what types of businesses might benefit from the rail trail, and it's separate. It's separate.
Yeah.
It's two different committees. Yep. Mm-hmm.
My other thought was, in order to give this whole idea more publicity and, you know, keep the community informed, is, you know, that we'd have regular updates for the select board.
Hi, sorry, this is Betsy. I just got on, I just got in. So I just want to kind of jump in on that. Yeah, so you did receive the letter that we sent to the select board, thanking you for the opportunity to come in and speak and the opportunity to move forward with this outdoor recreation endeavor for our community. It's an opportunity, and we do have a pretty concrete schedule set moving forward. I have reached out to all of our steering committee members, and I'm hoping to set a date tomorrow or Thursday when we're going to meet. And once we meet, we're going to kind of just kind of look at, kind of discuss what we have discussed in the past with the select board and the community about how we're going to move forward and make this a community driven project, but also meeting the needs of the entire community and how the best use for that space. We don't have a ton of updates for you tonight, so I apologize. But just know that moving forward, we'll continue to come to every meeting and give you updates as we, proceed with plans and opportunities.
Yeah, so I think that's important for whatever you come up with at the end. You know, we don't want to be in a situation where people say, well, where'd this come from?
Yeah.
This way, you know, when you get to the end, you're going to have support for it, and, you know, it'll happen.
I think we have a really, really good group of steering committee members that have a lot, bring a lot to the table. So I think, you know, moving forward, we'll have a good group. I just wanted to, I apologize. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what James said about the Lamoille Valley Path. And how, you know, it was built and there's just not a lot of funding moving forward. But I just want you to remember that the governor has put about $5 to $10 million into outdoor recreation. And I know that the Lamoille Valley and other outdoor recreation opportunities will come with funding. So although, you know, maybe you feel like that wasn't finished and it's just kind of sitting there, and it's up to the town or the village and those communities to kind of fill those gaps. I feel your frustration, James, but there's funding there, and it's an opportunity for us to kind of expand on that 4th Street property as well as the Robin Hood and then down further. So once we look at the whole, when we think of 4th Street, we're not just thinking of 4th Street, we're thinking of the whole outdoor aspect of our community, which taps into the Fit and Healthy Path and the Lamoille Valley, and so on. And also working with our partners down the road, like Highgate, Sheldon, and so on and so forth.
No, I was aware there's funds out there. My point wasn't, just was kind of surprised that they didn't have this in the original plan.
I jump in here. You have the proposed committee kind of plan that we sent you, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if you look under the proposed schedule, one thing we thought was very important was getting public input. So we're going to use April to get ourselves organized. And then either in May or June is have some public input, maybe even a meeting on site, depending on how COVID goes. And then we're going to work on the plan. And then in August, we're going to ask for some more public input. And then in September, we plan to come to the select board and just say, hey, here's the draft. Is this anywhere along the lines of what you're looking for? What is reasonable? And then we'll revise it and then present it in December. So I think there's a pretty good opportunity to keep people very informed. And if you take a look at who's on the committee, they all represent a lot of the community and will keep their own committees informed as well. Commissions, et cetera.
And as somebody who wears many hats in this community, I am involved in the conversation, and I'm more than happy to report back to all of you on progress updates when the whole steering committee can't be there to report back.
Sounds good.
This is Mark, although I don't have it in front of me, I did receive it. I did like the detailed outline. It was very well laid out. I just advocate to really get the input from the landowners that are adjacent and around that property. I think it's going to be very important either way to get their input. So, but I did like the timeline.
So we do, Mark, we do have a landowner, adjacent landowner on our committee, and we're hoping that he will, his wife and himself, Colleen and Yasha, will be the liaisons for the community, giving them the input and getting them more involved. And I've had actually several community members come up to me and say, I want to be involved. So there's already some community involvement, people are talking and really want to get involved. So I think it's going to be a great project moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Sounds good so far.
All right. Thank you, everybody. You going to roll with that?
Yep, I'm happy.
All right. Update for placement of the caboose lights, none. Is that anything we need to discuss or what?
Well, just an
Yeah.
update.
Okay.
On there.
I think we made a motion on this.
Oh, we already approved this one. Yeah.
Yeah,
As far as the dollar amount.
right. I spoke with Reggie over the past couple of weeks, and the solar light that you see here was delayed after they ordered it because of COVID. It finally did arrive yesterday, and he's going to be donating a pole to go with it that they have in stock in their yard. And he hasn't yet calculated what the installment cost would be to put it in the ground there. But he'll get back on that and how that's going to be dealt with. What he suggested is that we wait until the trees over there leaf out so that we can find the best sunny spot to put it in. And then have a group of us, I could go, Reggie could go, Ron will be there, and whoever else wants to be there to get it in the ground. And that's about it. So it's finally here, and he'll bill us for the cost to them. They paid for it already.
Yeah, I
So
just think it's important wherever it goes, it really reflects where the cameras are pointing. To make sure that we don't just put a light up to put a light up, but we put
Right.
it where the cameras are gonna be able to capture something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yep.
Yeah, that video that caught those two guys that night, that tells which route they used.
Yep. All right. Is that good for that, David?
Yep.
Trash cans for rec path, page 12.
Yeah, that's me again.
Yeah.
There's been interest in having trash cans along the rec path because of complaints about, I guess, the dog poop bags and the just regular trash being dumped along the trail. I was kind of shocked to see what the prices are for these. The ones on the left and the right on page 13 are the type that are in the village park right now. And they range anywhere from $400 to $700 for one trash can. And these are about 35-gallon cans. And they're attractive, but I can't understand why they're so expensive.
Because everything's expensive. I don't care what you're buying.
Ah.
The price of everything's just ridiculous. But they're rugged steel garbage cans. They're not going to bust them and knock them over.
Right.
We'll cement them in the ground. And, yeah.
That's what Reg has done in the village, is
Yeah.
they're cemented
That-
right into
you
the ground.
You can't have something sitting there. They're going to kick it around. It's going to be
Yeah.
busted. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, they already busted a concrete one that was there years ago
Yeah.
and never got replaced. On page 16, there's a type that the company that makes the dog bags and their holders provides for $210. And this attaches to the post that the dog bag dispenser is on. And this is a 10-gallon one. It's a little smaller. It might be adequate for the amount of trash that's being generated there. I
I
don't
don't
know.
think so. I'm on the rec trail pretty regularly, and there's quite a bit of trash on the rec
No.
trail.
It's unfortunate.
Amazing that we collect that much trash on the rec trail. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, the next one would be too small, because that one's too small. It's a square-shaped one, rectangular shape.
Yeah.
That also attaches to the post, and this one is just for those pink dog bag,
Yeah.
the poop bags.
I would suggest a
so-
regular trash can. But
Anyway, that's what we got so far. I did look at other catalogs, and most of them have just the regular plastic garbage cans available. These are companies that specialize in this type of outdoor merchandise. So I would suggest doing 3 of them, one by the bridge on South River Street, one by Grand Ave, and then one by Robin Hood. That way they're out in the open where people going by can keep an eye on them, and if anyone tries to vandalize them,
Makes
they
sense,
be
yeah.
spotted. Anything in the center stretches of that rec path that gets
Yeah.
vandalized pretty
I was
quickly.
like, I'm on. I guess the question is, where are we going to get the money to pay for them?
Yeah,
That's always the kicker.
was this funded?
No,
It
this,
was not part of the town.
no.
So I have, there's funding out there, and I have researched some things. Waste Management does offer some programs, just overall that might be worth looking into. I have some other ones in my office that can
Yeah.
share with the board that may apply to this situation, to where we can get something that's adequate.
Yep.
You know, who's gonna be in charge of
Well, that was the next
pulling
question.
these down? Is it gonna be Brian while he mows down through there, or?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah,
There was a trash can before me.
That's what I would assume. Or I was thinking, I would have thought being in the middle of these areas, at least near the school one, between there and Robin Hood in the middle, where you're catching, because if you put one on each end, I think I think you're overdoing it if you put them in the middle. That's just me, but I know it's a little bit more work for Brian, but if he's mowing it, to pull the garbage and replace it while he's there, and that's just
Yeah,
my
and the
thought.
only other thing you got, if it's off season, we're not mowing, then someone's gonna walk all the way down in there to change the garbage.
But I think if it's off season, we put a timeline, whether it be fall or somewhere, or before winter, you pull them out
Yeah.
and put it back in the spring.
Yeah.
Well, if they're concreted into the ground,
Yeah,
how
still
hard
there,
is,
but-
it's not gonna be easy to take
Obviously,
them
it's
out
not really much people
seasonally.
use them for trash.
Or I was thinking if you have to hole it through with a bolt that's holding it in,
Yeah, I
or
think
you
it's
put a cover
supposed-
over it.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
yeah.
That way they're being vandalized less.
Yeah.
That's just my thought anyway.
The concrete one that got demolished was in that middle section where the funeral home land is, right there.
Yeah.
A concrete bench that was next to it got demolished also.
Mhm.
They just busted it up. They actually bent the rebar from the back of the bench, and that was done in broad daylight.
Yeah, I think for maybe
Did they
this
do
is,
it with a jackhammer?
I don't know.
Somebody must have heard what was going on.
Well, they did.
Concrete that easy,
They were
bend
gone.
rebar.
Yeah.
and
The one
again, there's vandalism everywhere. We
Yeah,
can't just
there
not
is.
do it because of
Can't.
it. I think for the amount of people that's on that trail and will continue to be on the trail,
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of social media with the garbage. I walk the trail, I see the bags on the side. Definitely we have to do something, and
Mhm.
sooner than later.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would say 3 of them, and probably this one or this one.
Yep.
Again,
Yeah, the 398.85, or yeah, well, the other one's a lot more money, but I don't know if that comes with a post that it mounts on or what.
No, it's just like the ones in the park.
Yeah, but those mount on a post.
Oh, well, the specs are on page
That's the
14.
10-gallon one, is it, that melts on the post?
Right, that, that was later. This one is independent, the one that's in the park.
Either one.
On
with
page-
something with a steel cage around it is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So they don't kick it and smash it.
Yeah, page 14 has the
Yeah.
specs. So, do you want the rec department to
Well, I don't
purchase
know.
them, or
You wanna
who?
take a look,
Nicole
Nicole,
wants to
see
see
if
if
you can
there's
see
any-
something.
Funds out there. I don't know if there's any funds for benches or not, but.
I'm not 100% sure at this moment, but I'll take a look into it and
Yeah.
report back to you guys.
Yeah, that's fine. We can look.
So
and
we can
see.
make a
I
decision.
talk to Kathy another time, see if we have funds anywhere to, for anything. Fine for that, so.
I can speak on the rec department if you want.
I was
Sure.
just gonna ask Betsy if you had
Yep.
any available. Sorry.
Well, I mean, considering that we're town funded, it's kind of, I don't know why the rec department would purchase trash cans if it's a town rec bath.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wasn't saying that a rec purchased them, but she said, Nicole was talking about, there's some different grants out there that maybe we could get a grant to pay for some of it, was my theory. I wasn't insinuating that the rec pay for them.
yeah, I mean, I think it's a service to our community to have garbage cans on the rec path. We've had them there in the past, and I understand they were vandalized, but right now there's little plastic buckets out there with people putting garbage on, and you're basically you're gonna pay your town employee to pick up the trash when you could just pay them to empty a garbage can. I guess you can just think of it that way.
Yeah.
Just my 2 cents.
We'll have to look and see if we got funds to pay for them. That's it, the key thing.
I mean, I personally kind of disagree. I mean, if it's, whether it's a town, it's a rec, there's gotta be funds somewhere.
Yeah,
Either way,
Well,
$600.
It's all the same taxpayers.
Exactly.
yeah,
$300 a piece, right?
yeah.
$900.
Yeah. Yeah, spend $1,000 at least. And I don't know if that's with all the hardware or not, that price, you know, the installation stuff or not. I'll have to look at that, so.
So Nicole, you're gonna report back next
I'll
meeting?
look
Why don't we
into it.
put that, leave that on the agenda, David, so we can talk about the next meeting. We'll
But I think
I'll
see
get
what
you
we got, what we got for funds, and we'll make sure that.
We gotta
what
have
the
this
can is,
finalized, yeah.
Installation price and what the,
Has the
I'll
rec,
get you more information tomorrow.
this one. Yeah,
has the rec committee looked at this?
They have not, but we have a board meeting tomorrow, so I can
Okay.
talk to them
Yeah,
about
be a
their
good idea,
preference
yeah.
on which ones they
Yeah.
think would be best.
yeah. Okay, anything else on the rec path trash cans? New town. You guys good on that?
Yep.
Discuss Facebook page for town.
So that's me. I just want to throw it out there and see if there's any conversation. I know that a lot of people don't like the social media, but I think the social media platform of Facebook is here. What I continue to see and get discouraged of the Swanton community discussion groups, that's fine, it drives discussion. But what I really am hesitant of the negative portrayal that the community of Swanton or the village gets from people from the outside looking in. If they want to possibly move to Swanton, they want to see what's going on in Swanton, they see some of these discussions that maybe is appropriate or inappropriate. I would like to throw out there that we start considering having an official Swanton Facebook page that's ran or monitored by somebody on this board or in this building. I take a look at Highgates, I take a look at St. Albans, the villages, and all these surrounding communities, and these official pages are nice positive influences of your
Absolutely.
community.
Yep.
That tells you all these things that are going on. They have links, whether it's to the rec, to the library, to the schools, and it's the positive vibrancy that it's showing compared to some of the stuff that we're seeing. If that's part of the discussion these people want to have, that's okay too. But if I was from out of state and I'm looking to move to Swanton, and that's the first thing I come across is these Facebook pages, and I see some of this stuff on there, I would really have to question, is that the community I want to go with? Yes, they're having discussion, but this is, to me, the second page in a row. And I know there's a third one popped up, but I just have hesitant, because I think where it's gonna go again. I've gotten off two of them because I don't wanna see that. So I just wanna throw out there, is there any thoughts that we have an official Swanton, Town of Swanton Facebook page? The village has one, surrounding communities have one. If we don't, that's okay. But I figured I'd throw it out there. So that's mine.
There are options to have one too, where you can turn off commenting and just make it solely informational, and that could benefit at a way for us to shine all of the positive things that are going on here.
And I'm not saying by any means nobody to go to these pages, these other pages and post. Just something that shows the real true Swanton, how we act, interact with each other, not to continue to, I call it bullying online. That's
Absolutely.
simply what it is. And that's just me.
I don't have a problem with it, I just would like to know how we're gonna manage it.
That I don't know yet.
That's,
We
and I
can work
understand
through.
that's part of the plan, but.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want it to turn into some of the other pages, and you understand what I'm saying too,
Yep.
so. That,
Well, I think if it was a
it needs to be a
discussion,
positive page, not a,
I think it needs to be solely informational. I think that if we
Absolutely.
do have it, that
Yeah.
commenting shouldn't be an option, and that it should just be solely information, which would help with moderation
yeah.
of the page, because moderating some of those group pages can be a full-time job.
Oh, absolutely.
And the positive, Heather's spotlight on Swanton, them are great things, and them are the things that we want. But some of this other stuff, that's truly, really not who we want to reflect, I don't think, so.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of sad that there's such a thing as Facebook. You know,
But it's here.
yeah, I know it's
Yeah.
here.
Use to our advantage.
It's here, but I believe what Nicole said is a way to get information out. I think that would be effective. The comment parts and all that, no, we don't want to get involved in that at all.
Yeah.
I think just putting the information out, what's going on in Swanton, or what's happening, like the rec path, or the rail trail, anything in economic development, that's going on.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that, and I think that would be manageable for the people we have now. But if we start getting into having to check it, if somebody's gonna be on top of it, answering questions and stuff like that, it's gonna be very,
Very difficult.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope. Yeah.
But, I mean, what, do we wanna make some kind of decision to find out how we're gonna go about this?
We can table it and just continue to have discussions of amongst ourselves and come back next meeting, and if we want to, great, if we don't, I'm okay with that too, I just figured I'd throw it out there.
1 second, Debbie.
Yep.
Go ahead, Debbie.
Hi, so I wanted to let you know that as a result of when Swanton Enhancement did our 5th anniversary celebration, this was in February of 2020, one of the things we heard from the community was that they wish that things were communicated better. So like what Mark's talking about and what Earl's talking about, events, activities, and that they just felt like there was better communication. Right now you have to go to the village and the town and the rec and the library and the school and everywhere to kind of figure out what's going on. So as a result of that, we have started a brand new communications task force of Swanton Enhancement. and they've had 2 meetings so far. So we're very new, but that's what we're focused on, is trying to tell those great stories that like Spotlight on Swanton is talking about. And not just through social media, but also looking at other means of communication for people who don't use social media. But I just wanted to let you know that we are really actively looking at that.
Thank you, Debbie.
Well, then you could be some help to us then.
That's not where I was going, but hey.
I think she said yes, I see that nod.
You said yes, Debbie?
She didn't raise her hand back up.
I didn't think you did.
So I just think it's something we should think about and come back around on that.
Absolutely. All right. Discuss window replacement for the town office building.
Yeah,
Our windows are in terrible shape. That's been talked about over the last 3 years. I couldn't tell you how many times. The wind blows through them. We really need to do something about them. They need to be replaced.
Was this planned for in this year's budget, or
No,
no?
but we have money in our,
We have the money to do that. We've had the money. We've been talking about this for longer than 3 years.
yeah, oh, it's probably been longer than that.
10
Yeah.
years. But they're really bad now. They're actually, Tanya usually washes them and she hasn't washed them because some of them are so cracked she doesn't dare touch them. They're gonna fall out.
Yeah.
Has anybody been into no quotes or no prices?
I helped David last year with a rough estimate, but I wouldn't want to guess.
You haven't got no contractors in here to?
No.
Well, wouldn't that be the
But
first
that,
step?
well, and that's kind of what we need to discuss. What are we gonna do? The big windows in the front definitely gotta be done because the seals are busted in them and they're all fouled.
Yeah.
And honestly, all the rest of them are shot. The wind blows right through them, you know? And the problem with the windows is it's not just a simple window replacement. The casings and everything on the outside
Right.
can be ripped out, rebuilt.
Yeah.
And to do that right, all that woodwork's gotta come off on the inside. It's a major job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt about it,
Yeah.
especially in a brick building.
Yeah. You know.
Well, we should put out requests for proposals. Simple as that, if you're gonna try to get it done, I
Yeah.
mean, we'll have to.
Yep, no, that's fine. So do we wanna put out a request to replace all the windows? I mean,
You're gonna do it, might as well do it
well,
the
that's
right
kind of
way.
my theory. I mean, the 2 back offices, they keep plastic on them.
If it comes
now.
back and it's something it's
Yeah.
tremendously scary, then we can make a decision to
Right,
say, hey, we'll do
right.
half this year,
Right.
let's wait.
Yeah.
We
Right.
can maybe get the worst
Yeah.
ones first, but
Might
I know
as
the
well.
ones in the front, just to drive by and look at that, you
Yeah.
can see the gas has escaped and it
Well, we
doesn't look good.
could, we could do the proposal for the whole building, but then
Yeah.
maybe get the worst ones that we know we need to do this
Yeah.
year,
Yeah,
has separate, do that, and then the whole job. And then
Yeah.
if we have enough to do the whole job, we do it. If we don't, then at least we'll get the worst ones done.
Elizabeth?
So maybe do the proposal, say the front 2 windows, how much would those be? How much would the back 3 offices be? And then what would the rest be? And then you can kind of, okay, we can afford to do this set, this set.
Where people are in there constant in the
Yeah.
office, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, because
I hate to
these,
piecemeal it a bit, but,
but then you could get a total for the total. That way you don't have to go back.
Because if they did the jobs, they're gonna build the different windows anyways, because all these windows are all different sizes.
Yeah.
So we'll know what areas probably the windows.
Yeah, they're not. I don't think they're terrible difference in sizes, but obviously the front windows are huge, but.
The only other thing that, Elizabeth's got a point, but the flip side of that is
Yeah.
maybe somebody would take the whole job for a
Yeah.
better price than
Better
just a partial job, so,
Exactly, yeah,
You know, if you
and that's
put
the
it to-
problem.
request a bid that way and then,
Yeah.
then ask for another price for just something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think we should bid it out, do all the windows.
Yes.
One package,
Yep.
and then we'll look at the price and say, okay, you got the best price, we can only afford to do 3/4 of them or whatever this year.
Yeah.
So, what are we gonna do from there?
A project that
So-
big, how much is that going to affect the daily operations of what goes on in here?
Shouldn't be too bad. They should be able to work in this
You
room,
can
work in
isolate.
that room, and, yeah, they're not gonna rip them all out one day.
Take the
Yeah.
day
No, I know.
off.
Yeah.
Or maybe have more Friday up front or something like that.
And we worked around
Yeah.
it, we did each room at a time and.
I need a motion for that.
My concern would be the alarm system. They'd have, at the end of each day,
Yeah.
whatever windows they're working on would have to be secured because
Yeah.
otherwise you couldn't set the alarm at night.
Yeah.
Because the wind coming in and so forth would trigger.
Well, that would
Yeah.
have to be part of the proposal when we request, you know,
Yeah.
be in the package.
Yeah, each window has to be complete each day, at the end of each day,
Yeah.
so. Alright,
So I'll make the
So-
motion that, if you're all set for that.
no, that's okay, I'll just, I just wanna make sure any other issue is we have to replace them with wooden. We can get a wooden window with a vinyl outside, is what we need to go with, because you gotta have, it has to be wood, we can't put a plastic window in there because of the historic.
I think when they come down, have yourself here, David, and do the walkthrough with them, and
Yeah.
explain really
Yeah.
what it would work.
Actually, what we ought to do, David, is just have a bid meeting. Just put it out to bid, I'll help you with it, and have a required bid meeting, anyone that's gonna bid on it has to be here for a walkthrough. And then everybody's on the same page when they bid it.
Yep.
That would be the simplest bet, yeah.
All right, I'll make the motion that, we'll put out a RFQ, to replace the windows in the town clerk office building.
I'll second it.
And you guys can work on the logistics of the timeline and what have you.
Yep, yep, we can do that. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, ayes have it.
While we're at it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you have something else?
No, no,
Oh.
I was on the next thing, I was laughing.
Oh, alarm system, yeah, there we go. Yes, it's old and decrepit.
Yeah,
Come down here the other morning as it was going off.
yeah, I was, it went off at 6:23 for no good reason. It was the alarm sensor in the clerk's office, and there was no reason why that should have gone off. I thought it was the front door at first because it was very windy that day. And I thought the doors rattling, might have broke the seal on the door sensor. But when I called the alarm company, they said it was the sensor up in the corner in the clerk's room. And other times in the past, like in the middle of the night, I've gotten calls, either my office or Amy's office triggered it, and there was no reason for it. I mean, it's just, you know, anyone who comes in the building, if they were to break in, every room they'd go in would trigger an alarm. And so that would show up in the alarm company, and they would be able to say that somebody's wiring in the building. But in my office or Amy's office, the only way to get in there to trigger it without going through another room is through the windows. And when you come to check it out, you can very easily tell if somebody came in a window.
Yeah.
Especially in the winter, there's snow on the ground, there's no footprints. So something is
So
faulty, I guess is the way to put
And
it.
the other.
Well, the other issue is it's outdated, the system, and they're having
That's what I was gonna
trouble
ask.
getting new
they're
parts.
having- Right,
Yeah.
it costs us quite a bit to have one sensor fixed because they
Mhm.
had to get the parts and they couldn't get all the parts, so it came from different areas.
Yeah,
And he said it's just that they don't make these anymore, so
Mhm.
it's costing us more to find parts to
Yep.
fix when they
Makes
come
sense.
than it
Do we-
should. It's like,
I know we got some grant money from, Leagues of City and Town, we did the one
I'll
at the
have to
shop.
check and see, I know
I
when we
think-
did the alarm system at the garage, they did 50%.
Yeah.
So I'll check to see if
See if there's anything else out there, yeah.
50% here as well with that
Yeah.
grant.
Maybe it's visitors.
Have a problem with that, it seems like a pretty reasonable price.
Building's pretty old.
Yeah.
We only got one estimate, Jim.
Well,
They
it's
do
our
our-
current alarm system that we have now for the.
They do our current
highway
system now,
department and
Okay.
Depot, we all have the same alarm.
same
All right.
company.
That doesn't hurt
Yeah.
to get something and see what it costs.
Got a local company, Kathy?
Right out of Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia,
Georgia,
Georgia.
yeah, Black Dog.
yeah. So do we want to see if we get any grants towards this? Do we want a
I
motion
can
to
check
approve
with
it?
the league tomorrow, passive through there, might have.
Okay,
They're the ones that funded the half of the.
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Let's see if we can do that, and then we'll come back to the next meeting whether they're gonna approve
They
it or
also
not.
just, for Black Dog, Ryan, who's been great to work with. If you
Yeah.
have an issue or something, just call him and he'll call you right back.
Yep, good. That's good to know. Okay, we're gonna wait to table that to the next meeting then. Discuss disclosure statement for public meetings, 26.
Elizabeth.
Yeah, Elizabeth showed me this idea.
I assume this because it has a Zoom.
What's that?
I'm only assuming this is because of Zoom, that way they kind of lay some ground rules.
The last meeting, I have been I've been to a couple of Enosburg Falls Board of Trustees meetings, and they
Yeah.
read this at the beginning of the meeting.
I saw
And I
that
do
too.
think that we should probably make sure people are aware that they are being recorded, and we don't, I mean, obviously Northwest Access is there, but, we do,
Mhm.
you know, so it was just something in talking about, you know, to speak clearly, make sure you're muted, it just kind of gives
Yep.
them, instead of trying to do it throughout the meeting or during the meeting, at the beginning of the meeting, just clearly read it. It seemed, you know, like a good idea, so I threw it out to
I don't think
James
it's a bad
and
idea.
David.
Yeah, I just worry of reading the whole thing. If you get somebody such as Betsy that comes in after,
Mhm.
do you turn around and say it again? I mean, do you
No.
say it when, that would be my
During the
worry.
meeting, but, yeah. Whatever, it doesn't matter to me either way, but.
Could it also be disclosed on the agenda?
Well, if you look at the agenda,
It ju-
half of it's.
It does say that.
Already.
Yep.
If you add more to it, it's gonna push the actual agenda down to the bottom.
Mhm.
It doesn't hurt, I guess, to say it prior to the meeting. It's a lot of
Mhm.
verbiage.
And for what it's worth, I would be happy to read it if you would like it to be read.
Yeah, I don't have a problem reading either, so.
That's good.
But, you know, again, it was just, it seemed like a good thing to do, so I just threw it out there.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Have you heard complaints because people were muted, didn't realize it?
Well, you know, it is, you know, I do mute people.
Yep.
And I think some of it, like, it tells them if you want to be heard, you know, because like, you know, Debbie's waving this way, but there's a hand waving, so
Yep.
it kind of lets them know
Yep.
what we expect them to do
Mhm.
in order to participate in the meeting, instead of them trying to figure it
Yeah,
out.
yeah, which makes sense. Yeah, I think it might be smoother. That's fine.
We wanna make a motion to put that on the agenda for,
I don't know, though, we
do we
need a
really need a
motion.
mo-
I don't think so.
If you just read it, you don't need it on the agenda.
Okay,
Yeah, it could be
Sounds good.
something after the Pledge of Allegiance,
Right.
yep,
then Elizabeth could read it.
mhm,
And that way people would know.
yep. And we can read it before the meeting starts too, if you want, whatever,
Yep,
when I
either
call a
way.
meeting to order.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
simple enough. State and federal wetland permit signature. What's that, David?
That deals with MVU sidewalk.
Okay,
As part of that project, because there are wetlands involved, it requires both a federal and state
all right,
permit. I probably should speak to this.
yep,
So the MVU sidewalk, because of the wetlands involved along it,
Yep.
and in the one large one next to the maple fields and also in the ditches,
Yep.
requires two wetland permits, state and federal. The federal one is free. It's just a general permit from the Army Corps of Engineers. They normally don't get concerned unless you have an acre or more impact. So there's no problem with that one. The state one, however, they have a formula by which they charge the town, and they're charging the town $7,500 plus, or 73, I'm sorry.
No, you're right, total on the bottom, 7561.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not
And-
surprised.
And Bethany told me that could be paid for through the grant.
That's what I was
So,
just gonna ask
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah,
Okay,
but it's still pricey.
Still a price.
I'm not surprised. Yep. No different, someone trying to build a house with some wetlands.
So what I need is just the board to delegate me to sign both
Alright.
of them.
Can I hear a motion that we assign, delegate David to sign these two permits?
I make a motion that we delegate David to sign these two permits.
I'll second that.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, ayes have it.
Elizabeth, just on that note, on the MVU sidewalk, have we got an update on the next meeting possibly?
So we had a meeting this morning, I was gonna mention that,
Yeah.
they are waiting for so there's a 3-week comment period, the conceptual plans, the designs are at V-Trans, but they have a certain period of time to make their comments. We have 53 comments, which isn't bad for a project this large, but Jim Coda hasn't gone in yet and made his comments. But we expect that we'll get those probably by next Tuesday. And then, the Lamron did some plans and we'll do some cleaning up. And I emailed David and James this morning We may have a public hearing as early as May 4th is what we're looking at, to put out the conceptual design of what it actually is going to look like
Yep.
through there.
Okay.
So,
Could you continue to email me on any of that stuff as well, please?
okay.
Thank you.
And just so you know, we will not get, you won't see anything on the ground this year. I guess the archaeological and all that will take until September.
We figured 2022 anyways when we started.
Yeah, so.
Is the extension, the potential extension of the water and sewer to the Highgate, to the airport, does that have any effect on these sidewalks? No.
No, because this
they've
water's
got a
already,
sidewalk under there.
Right,
I mean,
just
they
from
already have
MBU up.
water still under.
they put a new water line and sewer line up to MBU a year or two ago.
Yeah, I know.
So it's all brand new, so they're only gonna tie on
They
from
put new
MBU
sewer
up.
line up to MVU too, or just water?
No,
Water
just
and sewer.
water, yeah.
Oh, wait a
The
minute.
the sewer line goes up through, by the interstate, the back way to
Yeah.
MBU, yeah. So, but they'll have to go up the other side of the road. if
Yeah,
they're-
because ideally, it would have been nice if we could have planned this, the water
Right.
line and the sidewalk, but that went too quick.
Yeah.
All right. Got it. Liquor control, we have some liquor licenses.
Yes.
Yep, I hear a motion to go in liquor control.
Make that motion, we go into liquor control at 8:01.
I will second that.
All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, we're now in liquor control.
Okay, so I have
Oh, yeah.
two, renewals, 10 Shop is the House of Pizza, and the VFW, which has a first-class license, a third-class license, and an outside consumption permit. Basically, the first class is for the beer and wine,
Yeah.
third class is for the other liquors that they serve, and then the outside consumption is they do, like if they hold a function, it's outside, they have a permit to do that, and none of them have had any violations in the past year,
All right.
actually longer than that.
I hear a motion to approve those two.
I make a motion that we approve both of those liquor controls.
I'll second that.
Second. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear a motion to go back into regular meeting.
I make a motion to go back into our regular select board meeting.
I second that.
All right,
How come
any other
this one's down
discussion?
here?
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, we're back in a regular meeting. Marble Mill grant application.
So this is just a couple of updates. We did a letter of intent for Northern Border Regional Commission to do parts of phase 1 and phase 2, which is basically clean up the parking area, a sidewalk down to the main park, do some invasive species cleaning up, and then do some native plantings. So that application is due the end of, I believe, mid-May. So just to kind of let you know that we're still trying to get Marble Mill moving. The other one is Congressman Welch's office. They're basically looking for projects. They're able to do up to 10 projects. So, and they have like a survey form. So we filled out a survey form to get all of phase 1 and phase 2. I figured if we were gonna, this is in a federal appropriation, might as well we try to get all of it and see if maybe we can get some portion of it. So we're looking at all of phase 1 and phase 1A and phase 1B. It's going to be really competitive. I imagine you've got how many people looking for kind of a couple million in federal funds, but we did submit that. So fingers crossed on those applications. So James and I and Earl will be when we meet. We have some, and I there's not a lot of information, but just.
2, 4.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just kind of so you know, one of the things I'm working on is we have some folks interested in bringing some investors to the Swanton Highgate area, mainly because Chittenden County gets a lot of attention, so they would like to give some rural Vermont some attention, and they picked some other communities, but Highgate and Swanton. Those conversations are moving forward. We've kind of identified some projects, and I'd really rather not go into a great bit of detail right now. But I just want you to know that we're having conversations and they're very serious about bringing some money into the area.
It'd certainly be welcoming. I think we have a lot to offer. I mean, we really do. Just give us the chance, the opportunity, you know?
And we do, we have a lot to offer, and, we're trying to have some Swanton projects and some Highgate projects. What benefits one will benefit the other, but we don't wanna focus solely on one or the other, we focus on both. So there are some opportunities, and there's real interest in the area. So I just wanted to let you know that that is something, conversations are ongoing. Earl, I think we're gonna try to set something up for the last week in April. I sent out an email by April 15th, but that's not gonna work, and I knew it wasn't gonna work, but I forgot, so maybe the last week in April, we'll try to set something up to keep those conversations moving.
Now, the meeting that we canceled last week, right?
Yes,
That was that?
that was.
That was it, okay.
Yes,
So that you're rescheduling,
for the
trying.
last week in April.
Okay.
Yeah. So the other thing, this kind of took a life of its own. 3 Depot Street, if you're not familiar, is actually on South River Street. It's the white building that used to be the Briette store.
Yep.
So that's kind of across from the Riv. We're looking to get that is in the designated village center, so it's eligible for some tax credits. It is on the state register of historic places because the whole district is. There is a possibility it could be listed on the national register. We just need to get in and take some pictures to make sure the bones of it still have historic features. I don't know, that's why so that's another project that I'm working on.
What's the purpose of doing that?
He would be eligible for federal tax credits, because in order to qualify for federal tax credits, you have to be on or eligible to be listed on the National Register. So if we can get him listed, or at least see if he's eligible, then he would be eligible for federal tax credits.
Is there interest on that property?
Yeah, the
Well,
property
he's
owner-
interested in renovating, so it's a little more appealing, so.
Yes, the property owner is interested in that property, so, we're just, trying to work with him. There's again, some more interest in that area, because people are starting to see some movement and hear about movement with the Riv.
Yeah.
So I guess since I mentioned it, we did, apply to get it into what's the umbrella, the brownfield reuse and limited liability. That way, if the village or whoever owns it follows the property, if they find additional brownfields, then once you go through this program, then you're not liable for any additional brownfields. And that does follow the property, so it makes sense to do that. So that's in that program, waiting for some brownfield money to become available. I know the governor, I believe, asked for 25 million. So we're hoping to get some portion of whatever comes out of that budget for the Riv. So it would be nice to pull some other properties in that area along with that as we develop that.
I think it's a great opportunity for the Northern Gateway. I mean, just to start that, just one building at a time.
Yep.
You'll just see it do this.
And that's where it actually started from. I had a conversation with the owner.
Yeah.
What can we do to help you to clean this up and be a little more appealing to come to town?
Well,
Is there something we can do?
First impression.
Yeah.
Well, and so kind of the other thing is, and somebody asked, the downtown scoping study only kind of focuses until you get to the bridge, and we did that on purpose. Kind of step 2 is once we start working on the downtown, we get past the scoping study, maybe get to the design and construction phase, then we move on to that intersection on the other side of the river, because that is a question. I don't know if we can make that any more efficient, at certain times of the day, but that is another conversation to have. So, I think that's it. Unless anybody has any questions.
Nope. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Sounds like good stuff.
Yeah. Highway. Guys are working on cleaning up the roads. I'll start picking up litter this week. Daunting task. New trucks on order. We actually found Western Star truck we purchased from Charlie Boyce. They actually had one that matched our fleet, which is very rare. So they took the cab and chassis from there, and they'll be putting the body and the other plow on it. It'll take 3-4 months probably by the time the project's done, but by the time we get it all together, so.
How'd you make out in the sweeper?
The sweeper's on order too. Hopefully we'll see that by the first part of May, so. Unfortunately, I wish it was a little sooner, but
Yep.
we'll get it. We'll have it. It'll be very handy. Working on paving stuff. We did get I just got an email today of a rough idea of what the asphalt's gonna cost us, and now we can figure out what we're gonna pave, what we can afford to pave, so. Yeah, I'd like to get that, get something set in stone for the next meeting so we can get it out to bid, so. I kind of was waiting. I just was gonna ask you, Dave, we still haven't heard nothing on the grants from the state yet. No.
Two of those.
Yeah. We have 2 grants out there that supposedly the state's put money in there for it this year, but don't know if we're gonna be awarded or not. One of them's for Beaver Road, so, actually they're both for Beaver Road. One's for the culvert, one's for the paving upgrade, so. So hopefully if we get those grants, it'll be phenomenal, so we can do other road paving that we need to do, so. I think that's it. I can't think of anything else.
I'd just like to take a minute and
Yeah.
say thank you to the town highway guys for helping support some projects at the rec today. It was really greatly appreciated on my part.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Betsy. Anything else in the highway? Any questions? Any other necessary business?
James,
Yeah.
just one more thing. I did get a letter from the state that our $256 stormwater fee for the extension of Robin Hood is due this year.
Mm-hmm.
So every year we have to pay that to them. So
Okay.
just to let you know that's
Yep.
coming up.
That comes out of the highway?
Any other necessary business? Correspondence? David, you got anything?
Just what I.
Just what you said?
mentioned,
Okay.
And also, a couple of weeks ago, Rebecca Ellis, who is
A couple of weeks ago, Rebecca Ellis, who is Congressman Welch's representative in Burlington, told me that as part of the COVID relief package, all Vermont towns will be getting some money, and Swanton, both Swantons, are designated to get 12.9 million, I believe she said. And they haven't yet decided how it's going to be divided between the village and the town. The money can be used for water and sewer improvements, the broadband, and also for programs that deal with COVID, without any definition of what that would mean. So the actual program itself hasn't been sent to the towns yet, but that she just would give me a heads up that that's coming. So we should be getting a chunk of money for things to use and all.
I asked Elizabeth about that. I didn't think it was, I thought it was 1.5 million, but
We've heard, so
there's nothing really in stone.
No,
So it's-
not at this point. They're
No.
kind of battering
Trying
around.
to divvy up what's coming from the county level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
How that's gonna work.
yeah, and it depends on how many citizens you have, and it's always, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's, something will be coming at some,
Yeah,
Right.
it'll take
It's a
long,
gift
yeah.
with strings.
Yeah, lots of strings, yeah. Okay, thank you, David. Public comment, anybody got anything to add on the public comment? Don't see anybody.
Quiet.
All right. Upcoming events, next select board meeting, Tuesday, April 20th, 7 PM by Zoom for the public. Planning commission meeting is Wednesday, April 21st, 6 PM, public by Zoom. The next DRB meeting is Tuesday, April 22nd.
Thursday.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Been a long day. Yeah, DRB meeting Thursday, April 22nd, 6 PM by Zoom for the public.
So you notice that would be the 20th, 21st, and 22nd.
Wow,
Great.
this was a busy week for you.
Somebody's busy. I don't know, take
Planned all those.
Yeah, I don't know.
Executive session, can I hear a motion to go into executive session, discuss personnel?
I make a motion that we go into executive session.
You wanna read the?
Yeah. I move that we find that we enter into executive session for the select board to receive confidential contract and personal information for which the premature disclosure of this to the general public would clearly place the select board and others at a substantial disadvantage.
I'll second that.
I move that based on our just made findings that premature disclosure would place the select board and others at a substantial disadvantage, we enter executive session.
I'll
second that one as well.
Yep. On the first one, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. And the second one, just someone make a motion on the second one? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Now executive session at 8:16.